Take a breath right now. What if this fundamental act holds the key to reprogramming your mind, reshaping your reality, and magnetizing everything you've ever wanted? We live in an age obsessed with manifestation techniques. Vision boards cover bedroom walls, affirmations echo through morning routines, and guided visualizations promise luxury lifestyles and perfect relationships. Yet despite this avalanche of positive thinking, countless people remain trapped in cycles of frustration and unfulfilled desires. The uncomfortable truth reveals itself in our biology. Most individuals exist in chronic survival mode, where dreams suffocate under stress hormones and anxiety patterns. While you struggle to maintain optimistic thoughts, your nervous system broadcasts alarm signals throughout your body. Beta brain waves spike erratically, heart rate elevates, and cortisol floods your bloodstream. In this chaotic internal environment, your subconscious mind, the true architect of your reality, completely disregards your conscious intentions. Imagine attempting to cultivate a garden in drought-stricken soil. No matter how beautiful the seeds, nothing flourishes without proper conditions. Your mind operates under identical principles. Manifestation requires the right internal environment, and that environment is created not through willpower but through physiology. The solution doesn't demand years of meditation retreats or expensive seminars. It requires understanding how breath functions as the bridge between conscious intention and subconscious programming. Science confirms what ancient wisdom traditions have taught for millennia. Controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, shifting your body from survival mode into the receptive state where transformation becomes possible. This activation triggers the famous rest and digest response, the biological opposite of fight or flight. In this state, your heart rate stabilizes, brain waves shift from frantic beta into coherent alpha patterns, and your body begins healing itself. More importantly, this creates optimal conditions for implanting new beliefs, emotions, and behavioral patterns into your subconscious programming. Breathing functions as the missing link between conscious mind, subconscious programming, and the quantum field of infinite possibilities. This isn't metaphysical speculation. It's documented physiology combined with neuroscience and ancient wisdom that modern society has largely forgotten. But here's where things become fascinating. If breath holds such transformative power, why do so few people use it consciously? What exactly happens inside your body when you alter the rhythm of air flowing in and out of your lungs? And why does this simple, accessible practice carry the potential to manifest anything you desire? Everyone wants to manifest something meaningful: authentic love, financial freedom, vibrant health, or their dream lifestyle. Yet there's a shocking detail hidden beneath the surface of manifestation work. While you visualize desired outcomes, your body may be broadcasting contradictory signals. And what orchestrates this silent sabotage? Your breathing patterns. Most people breathe as if being hunted by invisible predators. Short, rapid, shallow breaths signal constant threat to the nervous system. This keeps your body locked in survival mode, where manifestation becomes nearly impossible. When you exist in this state, your biology prioritizes immediate survival over creative expression. The body wants to endure, not to thrive. Your body and mind connect through something far deeper than positive thinking. They're linked by sensations, frequencies, and rhythms. Breathing isn't merely air exchange. It's the rhythmic foundation that determines your entire vibrational signature. And here lies the critical insight. Your subconscious doesn't understand words or concepts. It responds to what your body actually feels and experiences. Affirmations fail when your body remains in alert mode. Visualizations lose power when your brain operates in agitated beta waves. But proper breathing can shift this internal state within seconds. Deep, conscious breathing stimulates the vagus nerve, a master conductor that connects brain to heart, lungs, and digestive organs. When activated, it creates calm organization throughout your entire system, placing your body in a receptive state where manifestation miracles begin. Consider this profound reality. The simple act of slow, intentional breathing activates brain regions associated with intuition, focus, and creativity. This isn't mystical thinking, it's documented neuroscience. Brain wave patterns shift, body chemistry transforms, and your reticular activating system begins seeking opportunities instead of threats. Yet if breathing is so powerful, why isn't this taught from childhood? Why do we spend lifetimes trying to control our minds while ignoring the body that supports them? The answer is both simple and provocative. Society trained us to think rather than feel, to act rather than pause, to conquer external circumstances while remaining ignorant of our internal operating system. This is why conscious breathing is revolutionary. It returns control of your own biological programming to you. We're not discussing casual breathing here, but a conscious practice combining pause, intention, and presence. A breathing pattern that transforms chaos into coherence, fear into focus, and doubt into clear direction. Ancient wisdom understood these principles. Indian yoga traditions, Chinese Taoism, and Tibetan meditation practices all identified breath as the bridge between body and spirit. Pranayama, qigong, and rhythmic breathing techniques were recognized as pathways to awakening. Modern science simply confirms what the ancients already knew. When you breathe with conscious presence, you alter your chemistry, your vibrational field, and your experienced reality. But can all of this really be accessed instantaneously? Is it possible to manifest outcomes simply by changing how you breathe for a few minutes? The answer may lie hidden in an even more mysterious detail. A moment of pause between inhalation and exhalation that seems to open a crack in time itself. A space where the impossible becomes inevitable. How your body transforms energy into reality. Your mind isn't sabotaging your manifestation efforts. Your biology is. This may be one of the most uncomfortable truths for those deep into personal development work. While you believe you need more positive thinking, what's actually sabotaging your life is the physiological state your body maintains most of the time. Imagine your nervous system as a conductor directing the symphony of your existence. When it operates in chaos, the orchestra plays out of tune and nothing flows harmoniously. But when you activate the parasympathetic state, the famous rest and digest mode, this conductor gains clarity and your life's music begins making sense again. This is precisely where conscious breathing enters the equation. When you breathe deeply and intentionally, you activate the vagus nerve, the silent channel connecting brain, heart, lungs, and internal organs. It serves as the central axis of your calm, focused, regenerative state. It's the reset button nobody taught you how to use. The effects extend far beyond relaxation. Rhythmic breathing, especially with conscious pauses, shifts your brainwave patterns. You move from beta state, the realm of accelerated, anxious thinking, into alpha state. In alpha, your mind relaxes while remaining alert. This creates ideal conditions for accessing the subconscious mind, where manifestation commands are actually received and processed. Consider this carefully. If 95% of your thoughts, decisions, and behaviors are governed by subconscious programming, what happens when you access this territory with clarity and intention? The answer is profound. You stop reacting to circumstances and begin creating them. The subconscious doesn't understand words or language. It interprets sensations, emotions, and internal imagery. And what creates all of these immediately? Your breathing pattern. During conscious breath retention, that brief interval where you hold the air, a slight accumulation of carbon dioxide occurs in your bloodstream. This might seem problematic, but it actually increases blood flow to the brain, improving focus, clarity, and perception. In this moment, your biology sends a clear signal. We are safe. We can receive. That's when your reticular activating system comes online. It functions as your brain's reality filter. When you're stressed, it only perceives problems and threats. When you're calm and intentional, it begins filtering synchronicities, pathways, solutions, people, and signs. It's as if the universe starts responding because you're finally listening. This dance between body and mind creates coherence, and coherence generates magnetism. Your energetic field shifts, your body vibrates at a different frequency, and most remarkably, this can happen within minutes using the right breathing technique. You don't need more information, you need more integration. The miracle isn't in accumulating knowledge but in practicing simple techniques with depth and consistency. Breathe, pause, feel, repeat. But here's where the process becomes truly transformative. There's a specific moment within the breathing cycle where everything aligns. A space that science is still beginning to understand but that ancient masters called the divine pause. An instant where you're neither inhaling nor exhaling, simply existing in pure being. Could this emptiness be where the quantum field opens? Could this silence be where the universe whispers its most powerful secrets? There exists an almost invisible instant between inhalation and exhalation, a brief but profound moment where time seems to decelerate. Ancient masters called this interval kumbhaka, the divine pause. What makes this seemingly simple moment so extraordinary? The answer combines scientific precision with spiritual profundity. In this silence between breaths, you truly begin to listen. During breath retention, your nervous system shifts gears completely. The chaos of external stimuli loses significance. Your body stops reacting to environmental triggers, your mind ceases its constant chatter, and in this vacuum, this no place, you access something most people never experience: total presence. This moment stabilizes your brain waves. Beta state gives way to alpha, sometimes even to theta, the portal of inner visions and deep subconscious access. Prefrontal cortex activity decreases while areas linked to intuition and creativity illuminate. Science terms this neural coherence. The ancients called it a state of grace. But there's more happening. The controlled accumulation of CO2 during this pause isn't a risk, it's a gift. It increases cerebral perfusion, feeding brain areas connected to memory, focus, and expansion. It stimulates neuroplasticity. In simple terms, your brain becomes fertile ground for new programming. This is where manifestation gains real power. Visualizations performed in this state aren't merely mental images. They become vibrational codes impressed into the quantum field. Affirmations repeated in this silence transform into hypnotic commands. Emotions experienced here create deep roots in your psyche. The energetic channels mapped for millennia, the nadis, come into play. Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna aren't mystical myths but vibrational pathways in the subtle body where vital energy flows. When you breathe consciously, these channels begin aligning. But when you pause, something extraordinary occurs. Sushumna activates. Sushumna represents the central channel, the energetic spine. When it opens, energy rises like a lightning bolt up the column, activating subtle centers and awakening superior intelligence. In this flow, your body stops merely surviving and begins co-creating. Your reticular activating system, now free from stress bombardment, starts detecting synchronicities with surgical precision. You notice signs, attract opportunities, and feel intuition guiding you with almost supernatural clarity. Because in that space between incoming and outgoing breath, you become the frequency of what you desire. What seemed mystical begins making biological sense. What seemed distant becomes tangible. What was once struggle transforms into flow. You no longer force manifestation, you flow with it. All because you learned to use a tool that's been with you since your first day of life: your breath. But if the pause is the portal, what happens when we combine this pause with a sacred sound? A vibration that echoes not just in your ears but in your very energetic field? What if this sound could amplify breathing's effects and open even deeper doorways? 111 breaths and the code of instantaneous manifestation. Now that you understand the power of conscious breathing and the divine pause, it's time to transform all this knowledge into practice. Because like any sacred art, knowledge without action remains merely static information, and manifestation requires energetic movement. Here enters the technique of 111 breaths. This isn't numerological magic or mystical ritual hidden by secret monks. It's a neurosensorial, energetic, and vibrational protocol that reprograms the subconscious, harmonizes the body, and aligns you with the quantum field in a practical, direct way. The foundation is elegantly simple yet powerfully effective. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, the divine pause, and exhale for 8. This sequence isn't arbitrary. It balances the nervous system, regulates blood carbon dioxide, elevates vagal tone, and immerses the brain in alpha waves. In other words, you enter the ideal state for creation. Before beginning, sit or lie comfortably. Silence the external world, close your eyes, and feel your body as if awakening from a dream. Then define a clear intention, not something vague like "I want money," but something vivid and emotional like, I am manifested abundance. Visualize, feel, and act as if it's already real. During the 111 breaths, repeat the mantra, so ham, so, on the inhalation, ham on the exhalation. This sound isn't just a mantra, it's a vibrational code. In Sanskrit, it means I am that, a direct declaration to the universe and subconscious. I am part of the whole. I am what I desire. By repeating this sound with your breath flow, you create resonance. Words stop being mere sounds and become frequency. Your body vibrates, energetic channels open like rivers flowing without barriers, and in this state, the impossible ceases to exist. But here's an important reminder. This isn't about perfection but about presence. Initially, you may lose count, feel discomfort, or experience impatience. This is normal. Your mind will resist, your body will try pulling you back to automatic mode. But persist, because the more you practice, the more your body learns to inhabit this creative state. Here lies the true gold. Repetition transforms state into identity. Breathing this way daily isn't just an exercise, it's a path of return to your center. Over time, you won't need to try manifesting. You become the living manifestation. The frequency of desire becomes your frequency. At practice's end, breathe normally and sink into profound gratitude. Not mechanical thankfulness but the gratitude that declares, it's already mine. It's already done. At this point, your reticular activating system is alert, seeking in the physical world the reflection of your internal vibration. And it will find it. Of course, many people will hear all this and think, can just breathing really change everything? To those people, I leave a simple but powerful question. What if the key you've always sought was right under your nose the entire time? The science supporting these practices grows more compelling each year. Research in psychoneuroimmunology demonstrates how conscious breathing directly influences immune function, hormone production, and genetic expression. Studies on heart rate variability show that coherent breathing patterns create measurable improvements in emotional regulation, cognitive performance, and stress resilience. Neurofeedback research reveals how specific breathing techniques generate distinct brainwave patterns associated with heightened creativity, enhanced learning capacity, and expanded awareness. MRI studies of experienced practitioners show increased gray matter density in brain regions linked to attention, sensory processing, and emotional regulation. What's particularly fascinating is how modern science continues validating ancient breathing practices. Pranayama techniques developed thousands of years ago produce the same physiological benefits documented in contemporary research labs. Box breathing used by Navy SEALs mirrors patterns found in traditional yoga practices. The Wim Hof method popularizing cold exposure and breathing work echoes techniques preserved in Tibetan monasteries for centuries. This convergence suggests that human beings possess an innate capacity for self-regulation and consciousness expansion through breath control. We're not learning new abilities but remembering forgotten ones. The technology for transformation has always existed within our biology, we simply need to reactivate it. The implications extend beyond personal development into collective transformation. As more individuals develop breathing practices and achieve greater emotional coherence, their influence radiates outward. Research on heart rhythm coherence indicates that one person in a coherent state can positively affect the nervous system regulation of others within close proximity. This phenomenon explains why certain environments feel immediately calming or energizing. Spaces where regular meditation or conscious breathing occurs maintain energetic signatures that visitors unconsciously detect. Sacred sites, healing centers, and even homes where these practices are consistent develop what could be called coherent fields that support expanded states of consciousness. The business world is beginning to recognize these principles as well. Companies implementing breathing-based stress reduction programs report decreased employee turnover, increased productivity, and improved workplace culture. Leadership training increasingly includes emotional regulation techniques based on breathing practices, recognizing that coherent leaders create coherent organizations. Healthcare systems are slowly integrating breath-based interventions for conditions ranging from anxiety and depression to chronic pain and autoimmune disorders. While pharmaceutical approaches treat symptoms, breathing practices address underlying dysregulation in the nervous system itself. Educational institutions experimenting with mindfulness and breathing programs observe improved attention spans, better emotional regulation, and enhanced learning outcomes among students. These results suggest that teaching breathing practices could revolutionize how we prepare young people for life challenges. The military has perhaps been most systematic in adopting breathing-based training. Special forces units use specific breathing protocols to maintain performance under extreme stress, improve decision-making under pressure, and accelerate recovery from physical and psychological trauma. Yet despite growing scientific validation and practical applications across multiple fields, most people remain unaware of their breathing patterns throughout the day. Modern life tends to promote shallow, rapid breathing through chronic stress, sedentary lifestyles, and information overload. We've developed collective amnesia about one of our most fundamental life-sustaining and consciousness-expanding capacities. Reclaiming conscious breathing represents more than personal development. It's an act of liberation from systems designed to keep populations in reactive, fear-based states. When people learn to self-regulate their nervous systems, they become less susceptible to manipulation through media, advertising, and political messaging designed to trigger stress responses. This is why breathing practices have been preserved within mystery schools, spiritual traditions, and esoteric teachings throughout history. Not because they were too sacred for ordinary people, but because they represent genuine power, the power to determine one's own internal state regardless of external circumstances. The democratization of this knowledge through modern communication technologies creates unprecedented opportunities for collective awakening. Individuals worldwide can access ancient practices, scientific research, and practical techniques without requiring institutional permission or lengthy initiation processes. However, with this accessibility comes responsibility. Breathing practices, while generally safe, can produce profound psychological and physiological effects. Rapid changes in carbon dioxide levels, altered states of consciousness, and emotional releases require proper guidance and gradual development. The most effective approach combines traditional wisdom with modern understanding, honoring both the scientific mechanisms and the deeper mysteries that science hasn't yet explained. This integration allows practitioners to engage these techniques with both intellectual understanding and intuitive wisdom. The ultimate goal isn't to become dependent on specific practices but to develop such familiarity with your internal landscape that conscious breathing becomes as natural as walking. You begin living from a place of centered awareness rather than reactive habit patterns. This transformation doesn't require withdrawing from worldly engagement but brings greater presence and effectiveness to all activities. Business dealings become more intuitive, relationships deepen through authentic communication, creative projects flow with less resistance, and daily challenges transform into opportunities for growth. The breathing practices described here represent entry points into a larger understanding of human potential. As you develop proficiency with basic techniques, more advanced practices become accessible. Eventually, the distinction between formal practice and daily living dissolves. Every breath becomes conscious, every moment becomes an opportunity for presence. This is perhaps the ultimate manifestation, not getting what you think you want but becoming who you truly are. When this alignment occurs, external desires often manifest effortlessly because they arise from authentic expression rather than ego-driven grasping. The journey begins with a single conscious breath. Right now, as you read these words, you can pause and breathe intentionally. Feel the air entering your lungs, notice the brief pause at the top of the inhalation, and allow the exhale to release completely. In this simple moment, you touch the same essence that the greatest masters throughout history have accessed. Your breath has been waiting patiently for your attention, carrying within it all the tools necessary for transformation. The question isn't whether these techniques work. Countless practitioners across cultures and centuries have demonstrated their effectiveness. The question is whether you're ready to remember what you've always known and apply it consistently enough to transform not just your circumstances, but your entire relationship with life itself.